Call to order. Good evening, everyone. The date is May 27, 2026. The time is 6 o'clock p.m. I'd like to call this public meeting of the Rochelle Park Township Committee to order. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of the May 27th meeting was published on the Township website on January 7th, in the Bergen Record and Herald News on January 11th, the Hour Town on January 22nd, and notice of the closed session meeting was published on May 22nd. Copies of all notices are on file with the Township Clerk and have been made available to the public. Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Hitchie? Here. Committeewoman George Carlo?
Here.
Committeewoman Smith?
Here.
Deputy Mayor will be a little late today.
All right.
Just absent at the moment, and Mr. Miller.
Here. Thank you so much. At this time, we'll move into closed session. Resolution 26-153 authorizes the Township Committee to enter closed session pursuant to the Open Public Meeting Act to discuss matters involving legal issues, litigation, potential litigation, contract negotiations, attorney-client privilege, and personal matters. The items to be discussed in closed session are shared service agreement with Midland School, attorney opinion regarding liquor licensing, potential contract for forensic audit, and legal advice regarding employee misconduct. May I have a motion to enter closed session?
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We will enter closed session for approximately 60 minutes, and we will conduct further business when we return. Thank you so much. We are now in closed session. All right. Can I get a motion to come out of closed session?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. All right. Up first, we have a presentation. Tonight, we have the privilege of recognizing Rochelle Park resident Devin Kavanaugh, who was named the 2025 Sportsman of the Year at opening day last month. While awards often recognize performance on the field, those who know Devin best speak just as highly about his character, work ethic, and commitment to his teammates. Over the years, Devin has earned a reputation as a player who puts the team first, is always willing to learn, and is always ready to step in wherever he is needed. His longtime coach, Coach John Apice, described him as a true teammate who is devoted to his team and consistently one of the first players to arrive at practices and games. Those qualities, dedication, perseverance, teamwork, and leadership are what make this recognition so meaningful. So this time, I want to invite Devin to come before us to receive a certificate of commendation from the Township Committee and recognition of being named the 2025 Sportsman of the Year. Congratulations. 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 All right, Devin, here's your certificate of commendation. So on behalf of the Township Committee, congratulations on this wonderful achievement, and we wish you the best of luck both on and off the baseball diamond. Let's take a picture. 1, 2, 3.
No, you're good. I got it.
Thank you. Parents, want to join us? Yes. Come on in. Whole family. Let's get the whole family over here. Coach. It's Coach up here. Coach, you want to join us? Thank you so much and congratulations. That's all right. All right, moving right along. Up next, we have discussion on the Lots Lane sanitary pump station. So tonight, we're considering the award of a contract for the pump station project. The township received 3 bids, and our project engineer for this project, specifically Boswell, has recommended awarding the contract to Underground Utilities as the lowest responsible bidder in the amount of $7,975,000. The 2 other bids was Montana Construction with a bid of $9.7 million and PAC2 LLC $11.3 million. So if you're just joining this conversation, this project includes the construction of a new pump station, and it entails new pumps, piping, valves, electrical systems, a SCADA monitoring system, which is this computerized monitoring and control system that allows our DPW to remotely monitor the equipment, receive alerts, and respond quickly to issues. The project also includes the decommissioning and removal of the existing facility, and the project locates a new station outside the floodway because the current pump station is located within a floodway, and failure of this facility could place approximately 1/3 of Rochelle Park households at greater risk of flooding. This project is designed to reduce that risk and help ensure continued operation during severe weather events. This project also will be completed under a project labor agreement in accordance with township policy and the bid specs. To help offset the cost, the township has secured approximately $1.95 million through a grant through FEMA's BRIC program, and an additional $1 million in state funding that was secured last year. And $100,000 on top of that. Last year, the township also adopted a bond ordinance appropriating approximately $4.5 million towards this project as well. Obviously, this project carries a significant price tag, but also serves as a reminder of the consequence and cost of delaying critical instructional investments. And we know that these costs, such as construction, materials, equipment, continue to rise, and projects rarely become less expensive over time. So the township will also continue pursuing additional federal funding opportunities through requests like we put forward this year, submitted to Senators Kim and Booker and Congresswoman Nellie Poe in an effort to further reduce the burden on local taxpayers. But so far, over 36% of this project is funded by grant money. This project has been discussed for many years, and tonight the Township Committee has the opportunity to move it from discussion to construction if the Township Committee sees it through. So at this time, I just open this conversation up for some dialogue with the Township Committee.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to sit from the dais and put my construction hat on and my engineering hat on for a couple minutes. And I have done some homework on this, and I said I would once the roof was done and once the Matthews Field was done, and now I'm focused solely on this. I have some concerns with moving forward with the way we have this positioned. I've voiced this in the past, but now I've done some research on it to back up my concerns. Number one, the $7.9 million is a starting point, and we have to have that concept in mind. And the best way I can describe this is everyone heard Frank Rossi come here from Boswell Engineering and share with us from the environmental perspective that they needed to put a test boring in where the location was selected to put this pump station, and the ground is contaminated, and it started a whole opening of how much is it going to cost to keep the water filtered as we dump it into the Saddle River, and also how much contaminated soil are we going to be at risk moving out of here. Starting at $7.9 million, nobody can put a cap on where that's going to go. And I'm going to equate this and break this down very simply to those of you who own a house. If you have an oil tank, and your oil tank leaks, and it's in the ground, it can start out at $10,000. I've seen them go up in Bogota up to $200,000, where they had to go through 3 backyards. So on a percentage scale, where does that put us from 7.9 million? That's a big concern that I have right out of the gate. The other point of that is the time. How long will it take to complete that if you have to handle all that contaminated soil and that filtration? So what I'm looking at and what I'm thinking of is, why again did we move this pump station to begin with? And when I went back and I did a little digging, historically, I've been told, well, let me back up past before that. I've been told since I've been on here that the pump station is hanging on by a thread. And I believed what I was told, and I went and I saw the building, and I went through the building. Dave Brown brought me through it. And I agree with the facility, the structure itself, the roof, it's got holes in it. There's water leaking into it when it rains. It's got animals that could probably get into it. The electrical systems are at risk, and there's a lot of damage possible that's to the internal parts of the building because of the way it hasn't been kept up with on the exterior. But with regards to the pumps themselves, the pumps were replaced in 2009. The pumps themselves are dry pit submersible pumps, which means in the event they are flooded and they are, underwater completely, they're made to operate just as normal as they were if they were dry. So we prevented the risk of having an issue with them by putting these in. The life expectancy on those pumps from the manufacturer, Cornell, who those pumps are made from, is 25 years. So from 2009, they're expected to be in good service at least till 2034. There is a spare motor on site that is replaceable for either one of those pumps should they be needed. Those pumps rotate one after the other. Both of those pumps are not in service full time. One and then the other, one and then the other, back and forth. That redundancy is done on purpose to be able to handle any kind of service or repair on a pump if one goes down. Now, I agree that we need to get it out of the waterway, but the other way to do this is to build a flood wall around the building and to make sure that it remains dry. To rebuild and reposition that building, to rebuild that structure or to repair the exterior of the building. Put in what we need to put in. Upgrade the pumps to newer pumps. By moving the pump station up to where we want to do it and putting 3 pumps is useless. 3 pumps are useless. Our forced main can't handle 1 pump that we have. So unless we're prepared to rip up our forced main, which goes up Central Ave, I believe to Central to Gulf, I was told is where it turns into gravity fed. That main has got a certain size diameter. They had originally, and I learned this too, I was baffled, both pumps on when they first started this up, and they had a big problem with it. They were pumping, the amount of pressure coming out of those pumps was so high, it was like pumping right into a direct wall. But 1 pump running right now in there. They're 3-phase pumps, and they run fine. There's nothing wrong with the pumps right now. The generator. The generator is a 3-phase generator. I was told it was a single-phase generator. It is a 3-phase generator. It was put in when those pumps were put in to control and to maintain those pumps in the case of a flood or power outage. The generator has a few hundred hours on it. It's a diesel motor. It doesn't even have the paint burned off the exhaust on that diesel. For those of you who don't know, it's encased inside of a trailer, and that diesel generator is a cream puff. It's got nothing on it. But we want to get rid of that and put I understand putting a natural gas generator in would be nice if it were my home, to put a nice natural gas generator in rather than a diesel generator so it's piped automatically and it turns on. But in the past, if there's a flood coming, we have a diesel fuel reserve that apparently was prepared for that generator that is still in existence. There's no reason to replace the generator. All right, so we got a 3-phase generator. We got 3-phase pumps that have life expectancy till 2034. There is a valve, and Ms. Monav has brought this up many times, and she's absolutely right. There's a valve that needs to be serviced. Without that valve being serviced, you can't control the outflow. That needs to be done. And I'm not saying don't rebuild the station, but I'm saying let's not move it. And I have some costs to back this up. I did homework on this. I've looked at other municipalities throughout the tri-state area. And I have numbers here. I have numbers, I'm going to bring them up in a minute. The other thing with this is timing. To rebuild the station versus moving the station is a fraction of time. It's not going to be, we're not going to be dealing with, you know, if we have the building, let's say like this, if you have an addition on your house, right? And you want to put a new addition on the back of your house, you're subject to certain approvals. If you want to knock the house down and you want to rebuild it, your time delay is going to be another 3 months for engineering reviews, for soil reviews, DEP reviews. You're going to have all the extra zoning reviews. That's what we're going to face by moving this pump station, as opposed to rebuilding it. The structure is there, rebuild it in place. You know, we asked for what the cost would be or what the cost perspective would be. We can't give you a solid cost from the engineer standpoint because they weren't given that opportunity to do that yet. If we were to recost this and not redesign, just put in the plans to rebuild this structure and put the proper rebuilding size pumps, the proper nomenclature on that set of architectural plans to fix the roof, repair the electrical. If we're to do that, yes, it's going to take us a little bit of time to do that, a month, 2 months, but it's going to cut down the end product from building from when we start to when we know we can finish. 6 months rather than maybe a year and a half with not knowing whether or not we're going to have soil contamination that's going to push us back even farther. And where are we going to come up with that extra money? You know it's going to be, listen, we never go into something and it's going to be we say 7.9, it's going to wind up, you had estimates up to what, 9.7 we had?
11.3.
11.
Yeah.
So they're expecting something maybe the other company isn't expecting. But again, I'm looking at, for a whole, when we look at this, what can we control? What outcomes can we control and what can we have no control over once we put a shovel in that ground. And I even heard Mr. Rossi talk about and be concerned about hitting bedrock at 30 feet. What are we going to do if we hit that? So what, are we bringing blasters in now? My concern is we have no control on we have very little control on the outcome with that whole soils thing and with the DEP and where that goes and the time and the amount of money we have to come up with to resolve that issue once we start. And I say we don't do that. I say we look at focusing at rebuilding, cut the time down, and make sure that we have the outcome controlled. The building exists. You know, when we talk about structural damage to it, we're talking about rafters that got holes in them that are rotted out from wood. That's tiny compared to the project of what we're talking about doing for moving it. So let me turn for a second to some numbers to give you some ideas of other townships and other locations of what they've done. And I looked for projects that were similar in size, not Edgewater, because Edgewater's much larger project. So here's a couple for you. Clinton Township. Full pump station replacement. Reported cost, $2 million. Okay. Ocean Township. Reconstruction and flood resiliency upgrades. So I'm equating that to us of having to add a flood wall around it to keep it dry. $3.6 million. Bridgewater Township. Full modernization renovation, 3.9 to 4.1 million. And I think Bridgewater is much larger than us. I know they are. Township of Stafford. I mean, 800,000. There's a list and it goes on and on and on. So this comparison basically suggests basic rehabilitation projects, which ours would be other than the floodway, the flood wall around it to contain it, would be between $800,000 to $2 million. A full modernization replacement, $2 million, maybe $3 million, maybe $4 million. Flood resilient or FEMA compliant rebuild, often push around $3 million. This is a far cry from a starting point of 7.9. I know we have some funding in place, but I think some of the funding we still may have for a pump station, not necessarily the FEMA moving the pump, but maybe for the flood wall, maybe a wall around it. We can apply it to that. But my point is we need to control the outcome on this, people. We can't have an open-ended statement on this. If we do, I think we're in for a serious issue. So my vote is to move in the direction, repositioning it with the engineering company that we have, take those plans, alter those plans, whatever we need to do to alter them to make it work for the rebuild, the reconstruct. Again, 3 pumps, 4 pumps, you can put 10 pumps there. It doesn't matter. You only have a pipe this big for your force main that runs all the way up towards Hackensack. Unless you're ready to replace that, there's no reason to put those pumps in. Not that size. But I'm not saying don't upgrade and replace. I'm just saying I want to rebuild and replace. But be feasible with what you have. That's my take on it, and I'm going to stop there.
Thank you so much. Anybody else from the Township Committee?
No, I mean, as long as I live in this town, I obviously have tons of respect for Matt and where Matt comes from, but I have heard continuously, it's almost like everybody seems to agree, respectfully, that this pump station needs to be, we need a new pump station. That we're just a matter of time between a really bad storm happening and people's houses and their lives getting turned upside down. Again, it's one of those things that I've heard from since I moved here in 2017. We need a new pump station. We need a new pump station. And we do have a substantial amount of federal and bonds and funding that's going to go towards it. And it is in a flood zone. I've been told that before. The pump station is literally, you got to get to it by boat during a storm. And again, mucho tons of respect for you, Matt. I feel this project, I mean, we got to poop or get off the pot, as they say. And I mean, at this point, I don't want to be the person on this dais that votes against, God forbid, somebody's lives getting turned upside down if we have, because hurricane season's coming. I know it wouldn't be done, obviously, this fall, but we need to do something as far as preparing ourselves, because storms are only going to get worse. We're only going to have more and more issues going forward, and it's just that we've been kind of dodging bullets the last couple of years, thank God. But that's kind of where I'm at, and I really feel that we need to get going on this project.
What if we explored what he's talking about, talk to the engineers about rebuilding?
We already did. We had another engineer here besides Oswald, and it was questioned at that time and basically gave the same answer. It needs to be moved up, it needs to be rebuilt, the piping has to go in, and question after question, the same thing that you just brought up, Matt, and that was another engineer who came out so close to the 7, even if he tried to rebuild it. I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate it. I really do. But with that being said, these numbers have come in pretty much the same as last year. You just keep pushing this down the road. How is this going to end up? How are you going to answer somebody in the public, one of the residents, when they have sewage in their house? Because I remember when Ida happened, they ended up putting it into the Seattle River, and then it had to be pumped out because of the failure of this. It is not only this situation, there's other situations that have happened. Now, you're talking about building a wall. I understand that building a wall. But then you're just pushing the water toward the DPW, toward the firehouse, toward the pool area. You're surrounding it with pushing, as you're saying, pushing a wall. Bringing it up higher, as it was recommended many years ago, to alleviate that floodway, as they put it. And by the way, I think it was also a question when another engineer was here that was brought in, I understand, by you, and questions were given back and forth. Now, I don't even know if it would be okay to be DEP approved for being in that floodway. So that was one of the biggest concerns that we talked about. That's a floodway. That's not a floodplain, that's a flood. That means the water is going to be there. Now, what happens with that?
No.
Oh, I remember that. I asked that question. And I'm going to be honest with you, look back on it. Here's my opinion. How much longer are you going to kick this down the road? Should have been done. These are pretty much the same specs. The only thing that's different in this specs that came in a little bit different was the crane, which would be on top to take the pump out. I appreciate you doing all the research, I really do. But I think that at this point, how much longer and how do you explain, I don't even know the legal ramifications of that. If we know there's a problem with this station and sewage backs up into people's houses, who's responsible for that? Is there a legal obligation on the town for that because we knew of a problem? I don't know where that would go. While you may have insurance, but if the town already has knowledge of the problem here, how does that end up? And how do you answer the residents for that? Sorry, sewage destroyed your house and the pump station failed. So this is nothing that I've heard that isn't new. It's been a continuous thing. And I understand what you're saying about what, maybe look at rebuilding and everything else, but even pushing the water away from it is, I don't know if you've been down there to see it, because I did see it myself when it flooded, and it was pretty high water, and that didn't work very well. So honestly, in my opinion, let's stop kicking this down the road. Let's just keep, we got to start moving forward. We have the funding for it. We got it last year. We're okay to move this, and that's my opinion on it, that we should look into this, because this is a 730-day project, 2-year project with the PLA. So I also questioned Mr. McGinnis from Boswell. I asked this question, and I said, why would it take so long? And the thing is, the time frame was developed based on the fact that the designs required the driving of pilings to support the structure foundation, and the fact that there are several long lead time items in this project. These items include the generator, so we should have a gap to make sure that this timeline is proceeding correctly, and the pumps. The project duration runs from the date of the pre-construction meeting, and I believe that would be with the head of our DPW, to project close, which would include the completion of a punch list items at the end of it. And that's why I believe it is. Because last year, as Dave Miller spoke, it's pretty much the same too, except now we got a third one that went from 9.6 to 11.3 million. So it's not going to get any cheaper. It's not going to get cheaper. In my opinion, it's not going to get any cheaper. You can see now there's 3. And how much longer are we going to, try to do this? And I do appreciate it in the research done, but on those other towns that you looked in, say Stafford or other little towns, the other towns that you looked, how many pump stations do they actually have? There are many towns that have 1, 2, 3, 4 pump stations in them. Some have 7. So I don't know the statistics on how many pump stations they already have. But to have one pump station that is not the 100% capacity that it should be is just putting, in my opinion, putting residents in an objective situation of, let's roll the dice and see what happens on this storm. Let's roll the dice and see what happens on that flood. I'm not sure if that's the right way to look at it. It's going to take time because I knew that I have to do the piping, and I understand the soil. The soil was tested. We already had that done. So going forward, could there be some objections to it? Sure. And that's just my opinion on this. That's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'd like to re-comment.
Sure.
When you say displacing the water, if we're really worried about displacing the water, we wouldn't build buildings like we built across the street that would displace the amount of, that would displace the amount of water that it does. With regards to the pump station, you've been to the building, I've been to the building. How big is that building?
I don't know square footage off the top of my head.
Maybe 20 by 20?
Maybe.
So you're talking about a wall 30 by 30 around there? You're displacing it another 4 feet?
But when you have the flood water that high, Matt, and displacing that water, it's got to go somewhere.
Okay.
And the DPW is right over there.
With-
and the firehouse is right over here.
So let's have Truancy respond.
With regards to the concern about hanging on a thread, somebody's got to explain to me what that means. You keep saying that it's going to fail tomorrow
I don't know.
when it rains. We have heard these comments for a long time. Somebody mechanically needs to explain to me how these pumps are supposed to, what is the concern about them failing? Because I talked to the company that installed them. And they said absolutely not.
See, you said it was done in 2009?
Yep.
So that's
The life expectancy on those pumps, they said, in good service, and this is all they do, 25 years. 25 years. That puts us to
So we're in
2034
year
for the
17.
pumps. It's not the pumps that I'm worried about, it's the building that we're worried about, and the valve that Linda Boniface had brought up.
Okay. I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate it. But your rebuttal to me is now you're talking about 17 years, So we're gonna wait for 25 years and replace it then, and at what cost?
No, I'm saying we don't need to do it on the drop of a dime. We need to be a little smarter about this, about what we're doing. That's all I'm saying.
I understand.
And we didn't have that opportunity.
Well, I think that we did have another.
You're right, and when we have our representative here from Colliers, and their recommendations, we recommend to further evaluate rehabilitation of the pump station instead of replacement, as this should cost substantially less than replacement. And time, 2 years. So those people that you're concerned about, they have to wait 2 years more for the pumps to actually be functioning and that station to be fully functioning, as opposed to maybe 6 months. So we could get them back online with a newer, upgraded station at a much lesser cost and do it now.
I think that, I mean, I understand your point, but I think it was also Colliers that came in and also spoke. I don't remember the gentleman's name that was here.
It was Jordan. We have a
Nick.
representative here.
Jordan? Okay. And Jordan was also questioned about, let me ask you this question. How much would it cost to move? And he said pretty much in the same area.
Well, give me 1 second. So, because I think I will open up to public on this issue, but I just want to say I think the biggest disadvantage that we have with going a different direction is that we've currently spent $200,000 on these plans. And if we go in a different direction, it's more money on tests, it's more money on plans, and then we end up losing that FEMA grant, which is $1.9 million to keep a station in the floodway. I think that's the biggest disadvantage. I respect everything that you've communicated, and I really do appreciate your research, but I think that's the biggest disadvantage. It's spending more time and resources on a different pathway that's just ultimately going to lead the pump station to still be in a floodway when we've put all this work, all these resources into this current project that we've gotten an amazing FEMA grant for, and we are ultimately going to move it out of the floodway with going in this current direction, which I think it should be the priority of this project.
We don't want to lose that funding either.
And we also are, as a community, looking to try and limit and resolve the flooding. This floodway, by the way, where it is, it's not hundreds of feet down into the floodway. It is moving from here. You saw where it is, right? Moving from there to the DPW. It's a 50-foot move.
It's up past the DPW.
And it's not in boat water that you go over your head. If there were
If they're
wall
moving
around
it, it won't be. But where it is now, it was pretty flooded down there.
Right, but will that reverse someday? Will that get less?
I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't.
We're hopeful.
All right, so at this time, I'm going to ask for a motion to open up to public comment just regarding the sanitary sewer pump station. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, public comment is now open regarding this topic. You have 3 minutes, and we'll limit it to one speaker. You can sit right here, Dave. Why not?
Sounds like it's on. Dave Brown, Rochelle Park DPW Superintendent. I have to just question, Matt, and I know some of the stuff that you had said, and I want to make sure that I'm understanding what you said regarding the pumps, because I know with the pumps that they do run simultaneously and they do run alternating. That is definite. They do pump at the same time. We will, when we're in flooding conditions, normal conditions, alternating. They always alternate, unless I have a problem with one and it's shut down. But they definitely, when we are in any type of flooding, high water conditions, I have both pumps. They have to run. It's the only way I can get fluid out of that, or the water, sanitary materials out of that station. One pump won't handle it. So I'm just so you're aware of that. I don't know. I have an idea where you got the information from, and I get it, but just so you know. Also, you and I had conversations, and just to be pretty accurate, I double checked with Bob, because I think Bob may have been here. I'm not sure if it was just before him. There were pumps that were ordered. They came in. These pumps that were ordered they did not link up to the piping that we had. So they didn't fit on the flanges for the pump. So, what took place, that was before I was here. I can't give you that answer. I don't know what took place with those units. So there is a spare pump there. That was a rebuilt pump. And it's just the head. It's the pump head. It's not the guts of it. So I just wanted to make sure, at least clarify what I know as to what you had mentioned and just make sure we're on the same page.
Dave, what do you mean, it's just the head, it doesn't work at all
So-
right now?
Yeah, so basically, the pump is in pieces.
Right.
In the dry pit. So you have the top half, which is the motor, and then you have all the valves down to the volute where the impeller is,
Okay.
which would suck the water. They're all submersible pumps, so if something were to happen, they would still run. If the dry side took on water,
Right.
too much water,
Yeah.
they would still continue to run. That is, we have to have that. I mean,
But the other two pumps are there.
I know for sure there's one there. There were a couple others that were still crated
There weren't.
that they can't hook up to anything that we have in place.
So they were
You'd
what?
have to repipe and reconfigure piping.
Do the whole.
Not the force main going outbound. At the volute is where all the piping connects. So you have the wet side, you have a wall, you have the dry side. The pipe comes in, sucks material out, spins it and sends it through. So where they stack,
Yeah.
it doesn't match the holes. So all the fittings came in incorrectly. So I don't know where that fell or who was responsible for that, but those pieces are still there.
So how is it, what Matt was saying is that it's pumping out to a one main valve? Is that main valve much bigger to handle those pumps?
The force main.
The
you're talking about.
force main is a single pipe that runs outbound.
That goes to BCUA, right?
That goes to the BCUA. It pumps all the way down Central Ave to, like Matt said, to Gulf, and then it goes gravity the rest of the way.
Right.
So in that line, those two pumps, everything is set up. So it's like there's not two separate pipes for each,
Right.
pump. They come together and then they go out. Each pump has a gate valve along the way, before and after the pump, so we can shut down, isolate, and drain the pump and inspect or, clean out any of the problems in there. We also do back flushing through the pumps as well. So the gate valves, knife valves are being exercised so that their operation, hopefully doesn't fail. Sometimes they need to be repacked, sometimes they need to be replaced. We did recently replace one of the knife valves, I want to say it might have been 2020. So there are different parts, moving parts to this whole station. You know, the system, like Matt said, there's not enough to say about the station itself. It's crumbling.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I hope that clarifies anything. I mean, I don't know if that's what you meant when you said that, but.
So, backing into what you said, Dave, when I spoke to Lock Pump, the people that installed the pumps from South Hackensack, we were now in Florida, by the way. When I spoke to them, they said those are variable frequency dry pumps. So basically, those pumps adjust the volume flow of what's coming in. So the very possible reason for both pumps running is to lower the RPMs that they're at to get the volume, the same volume that you want running two pumps rather than forcing one.
But
In a rainstorm. Yeah,
You're talking a lot of stuff I'm not going to question.
So from an engineer standpoint,
Yeah.
what I'm trying to tell you is the redundancy is there. The system, depending on what the material is that's coming in, whether it's clear water or dirty water, gray water, whatever's coming in, those pumps can function in different ways, right? So they have variable frequency. It goes up, they ramp up and ramp down when you step on an accelerator. Those are made that way so they can handle different types of conditions. It doesn't mean that the one pump would not handle everything that's coming in. It's better to move the volume with the two pumps in a rainstorm with the amount of water. That's the way it's probably set up from an engineering standpoint. However, the building crumbling and that, we're talking about wood, shingle, and sheetrock. We're not talking about people. We're not talking about concrete and steel and cement underground. We're talking about what's above, right?
You definitely, yeah, you do have infiltration within the wet side. It's from the outside exterior walls, there you do have water filling in. How much, I can't put a gauge on it because it's coming through different spots all throughout the walls.
Dave, you said that was going through both sides, then it shouldn't be going.
There, where the one wall is, yes. When it gets to a certain height, we have had water coming through into the dry side. I think a previous hole from whatever, I couldn't even begin to guess, but there's some spots that have holes. There's not cracks in the wall, but there's a spot that has a hole in the wall, and when the level gets high enough, it's pouring through. I want to be comfortable sending guys into that dry side when I need to during a storm, and I have 20 foot of water on, or sanitary material on the other side, that I don't want that wall coming down on my workers. I mean, I'd be crazy if I just really didn't care about that, but I am concerned. It is an
20 foot of.
Well, in the wet side, as it fills up, you have the level rises. The level has risen that I've seen. And I wasn't here for Floyd. I was in town, but I wasn't working for the town. They had the sewage coming up and out of our main entry point, so the pumps couldn't handle during Floyd.
So,
Because when they do clog, you need to backflush. And when you backflush the system, you have to shut both pumps off to create that, to reverse the pump. You reverse the pump, you blow out the clog, and you fire it back up, and usually you're in good shape. So that's pretty much how that part works. So you run out of space in the wet side when your pumps aren't obviously working, and it's just filling up.
so again, if there were a flood wall around that kept the water back away, if the water came up that high, or when the water would come up that high.
Oh, I'm
again.
not talking about flood waters getting in. I'm talking about sewage water getting out, because the pumps weren't handling the flow.
Well, you're talking about the water rising.
The water rising inside the wet pit,
In it.
in the pit. So everybody's wastewater fills up and comes in. And if around it is still flowing, it's going to still flow into the station, and the level just rises. Because if the pump level, or the pumps aren't pumping out fast enough, or correctly, you're going to slow down the flow going outbound. Both pumps won't be able to keep up, and then the level rises. So inside the building, in the basement of the building, you have the wet side, the dry side. It's like a swimming pool, it just fills up and just keeps on going. During Floyd, it exited the building and started flowing into the floodwaters on the other side. They didn't, at that time, put a berm around the building, which during my career here, I've had to do it more than once. And we've put a 3-foot high dirt berm around the fuel pumps, around the pump station. And, and the guy who was inside there, I was delivering his food via backhoe, driving through the floodwaters that were over the front tires, and then walking across the hood of the backhoe to hand him the food. So he's living in an electrified island below the water level on the outside. So, I mean, it's just something. Do I think that a new station is going to fix that? It's not. It's not going to fix the water coming around it. If it moves over, they're building the station up on the other side with the plans. The station, I want to say, is going to be another 5 foot higher, would be the main floor. So you're taking away some of we don't have to do the berm. Does water get in that area? A little bit. We haven't had any water inside the DPW. That hasn't happened. But it all depends on the flood level. I mean, I can't predict the future no more than you can. I get it. But we're at a point, I think I don't know. I have to defer to the professionals. I mean, they know the ins and outs of the station, of the system. I'm not a structural engineer. I can't tell you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Bob Davidson, Lexington Avenue. Do you mind?
Please, take a seat.
Again, I was here for when we actually did have to replace that pump in the station. I was not here when they had the issue with the wrong pump that was ordered. I was not even here at all. I wasn't even hired by the town in any position when that took place. But what's installed there now is a recommissioned unit. It's not brand new. It's not going to be 25 years. I don't think there was a 25-year guarantee on that, but I really couldn't tell you for sure. The other aspect of it is that when the reason why we went to try to get out of the flood zone, again, was because of the brick grant. In order for us to qualify, you had to be out of that floodway. That was a requirement. The other aspect that you were talking about is men's safety. I mean, I saw myself what you were talking about, where men were actually on the backhoes and having to drive to the pump in order for them to get to the person that's inside the building. Okay, with the small berms that we did have, I mean, the safety issue there, that's nuts. Never should have happened. And it certainly isn't something that should happen in the future. And don't put anybody's life in that kind of jeopardy. I kind of question why, since we are having this discussion tonight about the pump station, and there was the other issue with the pumps, with the overheating. Right, because I know you didn't mention that. And that was another big issue. There was times we didn't know we were going to lose the pumps because of overheating. And of course, they're not running they're not just running for a short period of time. They're running for a long period of time. And we had no idea whether they were going to survive or not. We were very fortunate that they did. But the whole point of the matter is that there's no guarantee. And the units that are in the ground right now, or in that station right now, I can tell you for a fact, and Dave can back me up on that, is that we did have an overheating issue. And it certainly that's another reason why you really need to be looking at doing something different. You spent an awful lot of money getting to where we are. We spent an awful lot of time, a lot of years, not days or weeks. It's always great to have a new idea. But the problem is, at what point do you finally say enough is enough and you got to move forward? And putting the people in jeopardy in their homes, it certainly is not something. You're up there to protect the people. And you're also there to protect the money. I get that. But the whole point of the matter is, at what point do you finally say enough is enough? And I would also like to ask why Boswell, the engineer, is not here tonight. You have representatives from another engineering company. Why aren't they here in order to answer some of the questions that you people have? And when they were here, why weren't we asking those questions? So I know you want.
Boswell was notified to attend this meeting.
They weren't notified.
They were.
Well, then it seems like no different than when we had the 911 and the county was notified and they didn't show up either. That's my 3 minutes. I get it.
Thank you so much. Anybody else?
Thanks, Dave.
Joe Scarpa. With all due respect, Matt Chawinski is not the township engineer. You guys voted to hire a township engineer. These are the plans. You went out to bid at least twice now on these, right? So I really don't know what you're waiting for and why you're coming up with things at the last minute. And second of all, I'd like to know what your administrator has done in terms of discussing this with the engineer and with the finance officer and everything. I'd like to hear her opinion about this project because she's going to be involved in overseeing this as the town manager. So I'd like to hear what she has to say about it. Did she discuss this with the DPW superintendent, with the engineers? She's being paid $140,000. She's going to be overseeing this as probably the most expensive project the town's ever done. So I'd like to know what the administrator thinks about it.
Thank you so much.
Can I address that?
Let me close and then we can address.
I get to sit too.
I first sat on the council in 2018. We were told then we needed a new pump station. I was down there, I was DPW superintendent until the powers that be had me removed. I pushed all along for this, and it just kept getting kicked down. When we first got told the rough estimate was $2 million. Then it went a little further, and it was 4. Kicked the can some more, and we're at 7.9. I would have loved to have seen Montana get the bid, but they were $2 million above it. I never worked for them, I never worked for the other guy, but it's time to roll with this. Matt, I appreciate all, and you woke me up to a lot of stuff, but I think it's time it's done. And I know, unfortunately, you're trying to cut costs. We saw that last meeting, and I just think it's time to go. I've watched this. We did the bidding, we did the bond to design it, and then there was holdback, and then all of a sudden it started rolling again. I just think it's time to stop it and just award the bid tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? You might just have to turn it on.
Have a seat.
I think we should just take advantage of this setup right here, folks. I think we've set a precedent.
Andrew Matson, 14 Eldorado Court. I live in the low-lying area in the flood zone, and ever since I heard about this, I've been definitely concerned and wanting this project to move forward in one way or another, because, you'd hate to think of when my house floods, I know who to call, but when the shit hits the fan, I don't know who to call. So, that's one thing. I do know, sitting here through all the meetings, a lot of the concerns, this went out for bid. There were specs in the bid. I would assume whoever bid on this read the specs, and that's why there was different bid numbers. And I don't know if any of you guys went to the bids to see that. But I just think whoever bid on this job kind of knows, hey, this is what this is going to cost, because they saw the specs, they know the job, they looked into it. And I think it's a great opportunity. The town is making a good move here, because it's about time. I do agree with that, because you start getting cute, and then you trip over your own feet, and then the price of the job doubles, and then you feel trapped and you don't know what to do, because it's kind of obvious you made a mistake at that point, and then the job doesn't get done. And I think if we look behind us in the rearview mirror, I think there's a lot of things that happened with. We can make a list, but I only have 3 minutes. So I just think doing it right now is the best move, and it's investing in the community. It's investing in the future. And you have to ask yourselves, why is FEMA giving out grants to move things out of floodplains? There has to be a reason. I think the long-term costs of leaving it in the flood zone, and how long is a flood wall going to last, and those costs, I just think long-term there's other costs that this would save money moving it out of the floodplain. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anybody else?
One more.
Did
Did I get run out?
Well, I said limited to one speaker.
Valve that's not shut. So-
I limited to one speaker. I really appreciate it, though. Thank you.
No problem. I'll do it in my next 3 minutes.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Hearing or seeing no one, can I get a motion to close public comment?
Motion.
I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Any additional comments from the Township Committee?
Yes. I'd like to make a couple comments on what's been said. When Mr. Scarpa came up to the microphone, I found it interesting that he addressed that he wants the town administrator to weigh in on something has an engineering background you need to weigh in on, and I have that. and why you wouldn't accept, or why you wouldn't, again, I'm not representing to be the town engineer, but I'm here to explain and help get that point across. And our town engineer is not Boswell. It is Colliers. And our town engineer, right here under the recommendations in the report that they made in the meeting that they were here, we recommend further evaluate rehabilitation of the pump station instead of replacement, as the cost, as this should cost substantially less than the replacement and cut down the time immensely. So again, when we take this project on, just remember, when we vote on this, we put a shovel in the ground. It's an open-ended statement for what Frank Rossi from Boswell Engineering told us. We don't know what's going to be in the ground and how many tons of contaminated soil we're going to have to truck out of here. The guys that read those specs, they're expecting a certain amount. You start at 7.9 million. I guarantee, in my opinion, I'm going to say that it's not going to stop there. You take an oil cleanup. Everybody's biggest fear today with the house is what? An oil cleanup. That's our biggest fear right now, sitting out there in the ground. We put a shovel in the ground. When do we stop, and how do we fund it? And Mr. Davidson, when he spoke about safety, originally this pump station was supposed to be rebuilt. Or was it always supposed to be moved from the day you came in? My question is, if you were worried about safety and all that, why wasn't it rebuilt back when you were the administrator?
Because the township did not want to spend the money at the time.
And the amount of money was,
How many times have I come up here and spoke about this?
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. I understand, but
but
public
if it was a
comments,
safety perspective.
Public
it was a
comments, yeah.
Safety perspective then,
Let's
now
move
it should have
forward.
been a safety perspective then. It
folks,
should have
public
been a
comments
safety
closed, public
perspective
comments
then.
closed. Let's keep going. Keep going.
It should have been a
Mr.
safety,
Scarpa,
if it was a
Mr.
safety
Scarpa,
perspective now,
this public comment
when did it
closed.
change? When did it change to become a safety perspective that we got enlightened now? If you were here as the administrator, it was a safety perspective when those guys were in the hole, and you were here, why wasn't it done then?
All righty. Again, the Township Committee has the floor at this time. Any other comments regarding the subject?
Mr. Twinsky, I understand your frustration. I do.
Can you speak into the mic, please?
Can you hear me now?
No.
Seriously, can you hear me now? Is that better? Maybe mine's not working.
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I mean, we can go back and forth on this, and I understand your concern on it, and I do. As far as you being an engineer, appreciate it, because you've given us a lot of insight on that, too. And asking people, understanding that, the safety part of it. All right. But right now, we know that this is not, and we heard from the head of our DPW. I didn't even know about an overheating thing. That was something I just learned about. And I do know that excuse me?
Hold on. We're not engaged with the public right now. Ms.
Okay,
Judge
well,
please finish your
I'm making a
comments.
statement.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so I did hear about the overheating. This is my first time of hearing that, and that makes a concern also. And I understand, I also thought I heard, maybe I'm incorrect, but I heard that these pumps were reconditioned pumps that were there. I thought I heard that statement, they were reconditioned pumps. So if we're going to look at, this kind of money, this project, again, I'm going to say this, has been kicked down the road too long, and it needs to move forward, and that's my opinion. So whatever you guys want to do right now, we can take a vote or not, it's up to the mayor.
Thank you. At this time, I'll ask for a motion to approve Resolution 26-154, award of contract for Lost Lane Sanitary Pump Station. Do I have a motion?
I motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Peachy? Yes. Committeewoman Judge Carvalho?
Yes.
Committeeman Smith?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Chwinsky?
No.
Mayor Miller?
Yes. Thank you so much, everybody. At this time, we're going to move on to the 2026 municipal budget presentation. I'd like to invite CFO Roy Rigatano and Township Auditor Andrew Parente to present the 2026 municipal budget. Dream team right here.
Good evening. So this evening before you is the budget amendment. That is all that we're speaking about this evening. We are amending the introduced budget. that was dictated through the Finance Committee to us as your auditor and CFO. The Township Committee has made it very, very clear that $485 on introduction of the budget was not tolerable to the taxpayers or to you. We were instructed, no matter how to get these, use more surplus, cut more appropriations to get the taxpayer rate down, and we've been able to do that. And how did this get done? Township Committee has requested additional surplus to be used in the amount of $303,000. So by law, we're going from $1,928,000 to $2,231,035. We've cut the taxes, the amount to be raised by $458,600. We've cut various line items in the tune of $200,000. We've increased the recreation fees, the access for all by $5,000. Celebration of public events, we've added $5,400. We've cut Social Security dollars by $9,000, and we cut the group insurance by $37,000. At the end of the day, the total appropriation is going from $16,893,212 to $16,737,612. And with the use of the surplus of $303,000 additional, the tax burden now goes from $485 to $312. You will be voting on that tax increase that you have the control over. The revow is not your control. It's none of us here. Court ordered, that's where the chips lie, which was $325. Got anything else? That's your amendment. This is what the Township Committee asked for. We're just the number guys, and we were able to get it to your number that you thought is tolerable under the circumstances.
Thank you. Any questions from the Township Committee?
Roy, did you get the county tax come in yet? The county taxes come in?
No.
School
Not yet.
tax-
School's
school
in.
taxes, what?
School, we have that.
So you haven't gotten the county?
No county yet, no.
You're looking for what with the school?
School tax.
School increase is gonna be $324 on the rate,
320,
$324.
All right, anybody else? Any further questions? All right, so at this time, I'm going to ask for a motion to open the public hearing on the 2026 amended municipal budget. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, the public hearing is now open. You have 3 minutes, and you're limited to one speaking opportunity. Hearing or seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. All right, so at this time, can I have a motion to adopt the 2026 municipal budget pursuant to Resolution 26-155? Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Tucci?
Yes.
Committeewoman Judge Covello?
Yes.
Committeeman Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Chouinski?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, any correspondence, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Mayor.
Mayor, tonight I received one correspondence from the OEM coordinator, Pete Donatello. In summary, he thanked all CERT members and OEM staff for their dedication and volunteer efforts in supporting recent community events and emergency preparedness initiatives, including the Memorial Day Parade, Maywood 5K Run, Rochelle Park Day, Register Ready campaign, and CERT outreach programs.
Thank you so much, Gina. All right, may I have a motion to adopt the minutes for closed session, May 13, 2026, and public session, May 13th, 2026. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Peachy?
Yes.
Committeewoman Judge Covello?
Yes.
Committeeman Smith?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Chewinski?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes. Thank you so much. All right, approval of the agenda. May I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Peachy?
Yes.
Committeewoman Judge Covello?
Yes.
Committeeman Smith?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Chewinski?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes. Thank you so much. We are on to reports, and let's start with our Township Administrator, Ms. Samantha Carpio.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I wanted to start with the summer recreation program. The township has been actively preparing for the 2026 summer recreation camp. We received over 10 applications for the camp director position, and the final decision is expected to be made within the next week. Once the director is selected, we will begin our onboarding of counselors, sending welcome letters to the families, and finalizing the camp calendar. Currently, we have 31 children registered for the recreation camp, and this year we were working towards creating a more structured program while still maintaining the recreational activities and atmosphere that our families enjoy. As far as it goes for grant funding, the township was recently awarded a $10,000 Sustainable Jersey grant funded through the PSC&G Foundation. These funds will help support sustainability and community initiatives. In addition to that, the township is currently preparing and pursuing several additional grants, including the Sustainable Jersey PSC&G Energy Efficiency Partnership Program, as well as our NJDOT Municipal Aid Grant for fiscal year 2027, the FEMA fiscal year 2025 Fire Grant Program to support fire department equipment and safety improvements. And we continue to work with our grants consultant to aggressively pursue outside funding opportunities, including those that are to support the funding of our pump station. In addition to that, administration is currently working in reviewing and updating staff titles, job descriptions, and our township employee handbook to improve consistency, organization, and the operational efficiencies across all departments. In addition to that, I'd also like to give recognition to our local restaurant, El Asadero Mexican Grill, on being honored with the Sello M Award, which is a recognition by Mexico's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as they have won the award for Best Mexican Restaurant in New Jersey. The business owner has invited all to participate in a celebration tomorrow that will be hosted at their location at 4 p.m. Lastly, the township was awarded $129,000 through the NJDOT Municipal Aid Grant for fiscal year 2026 for roadway improvements to Lincoln Avenue and Chestnut Street. Additionally, we are currently evaluating future road programs, improvements for West Older Street and Fairfield Avenue, including the possibility of installing additional storm drainage infrastructure to help address standing water concerns during rain events. And that is all I have for this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Carpio. All right, Mr. Smith, take it away.
Thanks, Mayor. Two quick things. Rochelle Park Day was incredible. It was a great success. I want to thank all the rec volunteers, volunteered their time, along with every single township committee person who stepped it up, because we had a couple of people that were out. And again, it was an incredible success. Tons of burgers, tons of hot dogs were made. Really want to thank everybody for coming out. Our next rec meeting will be June 3rd, which is Wednesday. Usually it's on a Tuesday, but we're having election day, so it'll be the following day at Houghton Hall at 7 o'clock. And America 250, Mrs. Apici and I will be at the American Legion tomorrow for our American 250 meeting, because we're trying to get everything stabilized and ready for our event on July 4th. So, July 3rd, but July 4th, but we're going to talk about it. Talk about both. So we're going to have our meeting tomorrow at 6 o'clock at the American Legion. Obviously, if everybody's always welcome to join. We use all the volunteers we can get. We had The Crossing. We showed our movie. That was a pretty good success. Hopefully we'll have a few more people out for the next movie. Yeah, I think I'm done.
Well done. Thank you so much, Mr. Smith. All right. Ms. Judge Gravello, take it away.
Before I forget, Mr. Duddy, Commander Duddy gave me a flag to give you for $250. If you can use it, if not, he said that he'll give it back and that'd be fine.
You got it. That's great. Dennis is a good man.
He is. Also I just want to point out on this agenda, I was approached by the Galpo family after the last meeting, and we have a street sign that was approved. I talked to our administrator about it for Rochelle and Forest Place, and because our house is in between, they asked if it could be another one on Forest and Brooks Ave. So that would be between the two houses there, and that is put on the agenda for approval announcement.
Okay.
So I speak to Smith about that. All right, so a couple of things I have here. Seniors had a wonderful Mother's Day celebration on May 14th. It was very much attended and it was enjoyed by all. They will be having another meeting on the 28th and presentation from Invictus Pharmacy. The library this Saturday, June 27th, will have Scoops and Snakes. So at 12 p.m. is Mr. Softy. 1 p.m. is the Snake, I guess he's a Snake Man.
Snake Man.
Snake Man, right, that is coming. And you can always look on their website for upcoming events that they have. On the police side, I have during the month of April, there was 1,425 calls for service. Our patrol division and detectives continue to demonstrate proactively and seeking out criminal activity before it impacts our residents and stakeholders in keeping our small town safe. This extra effort and dedication is demonstrated by the 214 motor vehicle stops, 9 arrests, 15 criminal charges, and 520 summons issued in the month. The team is involved in training and education. They have education for investigation classes. Let me see, who is this? Starling and Monaco completed the 2-day National Child Passenger Safety Certification class, which allows them to conduct baby, child seat installations and inspections. There was radar updated training, and there was also the entire department completed active shooters training at Midland School during the spring break. The Detective Bureau continues to investigate civil crimes in this month, worked on a multi-jurisdictional task force, and took part in the arrest of subjects wanted in connection with the Marion Avenue shooting. They are also part of the Human Trafficking Task Force put in place for the FIFA World Cup. Administratively, they are preparing for the FIFA World Cup and possibly watch any pop-up parties and large crowds that come with these meetings, with other public safety departments within and outside of the township. They're also preparing for events and crowds that will come to our local hotel for the celebration for this national 250th anniversary Independence Day. So that's what I have for now.
Thank you so much. Ms. Apice.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. For OEM, on May 20th, OEM joined members of the CERT team in Access for All for proactive discussion, focused on strengthening emergency evacuation support for individuals with special needs. The discussion focused on forward-thinking ideas, practical solutions, and improved coordination to better prepare and respond for emergencies that may occur. Through continued collaboration and planning, efforts are being made to ensure that members of our special needs community are cared for, supported, and never overlooked during emergencies. So we thank all that have attended to that. On Thursday, June 18th, they'll be hosting a residential and business flood preparedness program at the Rochelle Senior Center. The program will be focusing on the impacts of flooding and will help residents and business owners prepare before, during, and after any flood events. America 250 went over. Veterans, I just want to thank everyone who attended this year's Memorial Day ceremony and parade, as we honored and remembered the brave men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. Special thanks to our parade committee for organizing such a meaningful and touching event for our community. And congratulations to Commander Dennis Duddy on being named this year's Grand Marshal, and thank you for your continued service and dedication to the community. For our fire department, they had 24 calls for the month of April. They've participated in numerous training evolutions in the month of April. The fire department volunteers also attended township events such as Access for All Ice Cream Social, and the Rochelle Park Baseball Opening Day Ceremony, and Rochelle Park Day. So thank you to the Rochelle Park Fire Department. And that's all for me.
Thank you so much. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Just from the DPW, from Buildings and Grounds, they received a new chipper today, and the crews already spent time training on the new equipment. This is replacing the old worn-out chipper that he's been talking about breaking down and having issues with. Also, they were made aware of a manhole on Somerville that's starting to collapse, so we're waiting for a quote to rebuild that. That's all I have.
Thank you so much. All right. I'm going to echo some things that have already been said, but I want to start with congratulating once again to Devin Kavanaugh on being named the 2025 Sportsman of the Year, and we're proud to recognize Rochelle Park's young people for their hard work, dedication, and sportsmanship always. I want to thank the volunteers and everybody involved who made Rochelle Park Day and the Memorial Day Parade such a success. Those were two amazing community events. And I want to echo what Ms. Carpio said, that we have been awarded a $10,000 sustainable jersey grant through the PSE&G Foundation to support improvements to our community garden at Carlock Field. And this funding is going to help advance sustainability, beautification, and community engagement efforts in our township. And I want to thank the Environmental Commission Chair, Michael Warren, and the members of the Environmental Commission for their hard work in helping secure this grant and move this project forward. There's definitely been a lot of misinformation circulating online about the shared service agreement with Bergen County PSOC, and I want to encourage everybody to take a few minutes to watch the NBC New York segment that aired last night. It's available on the Township website. It's the very first link that you see, and it gives residents a first-hand look at the Bergen County Public Safety Operations Center, the technology it uses, and the professionals who answer emergency calls every single day. It's on the Township website. You can look at it right now. Thank you so much. Ms. Kim, anything from you?
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to say the primary election is next Tuesday, June 2nd. Polls will be open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Rochelle Park Senior Center. If for any reason you cannot vote in person next Tuesday, early voting locations are now open until Sunday, May 31st. Hours are Thursday through Saturday from 10 to 8 p.m. and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. If you are a mail-in ballot voter, please utilize the mail-in ballot drop boxes, which Mr. Scatino has been reminding everyone so graciously every meeting. The mail-in ballot drop boxes are available 24 hours, and ballots must be in the drop box by 8 p.m. on election night. Ballots left after 8 p.m. on election night will be considered late and not counted. So please get your mail-in ballots in. 2026 community garden applications are now being accepted. Applications are available on the front table over there by the agendas, can be picked up at the clerk's office or downloaded on the township website. For more information, you can always contact me or Environmental Commission Chair Mike Warren, who is in the audience with us today. And just lastly, May was Police and Military Appreciation Month, as well as DPW Week. So thank you to everybody for your service and dedication. We appreciate all of you. And happy birthday to our mayor. His birthday is next week. So
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Gina. Mr. Scatino.
Yes, Mayor, just one item to report on. As I think everyone is aware, the township has a pilot or a financial agreement with Topher regarding the project on 120 West Passaic Street. According to the financial agreement, every year they have to supply an audit of the revenue they take in, because that determines how much revenue how much they have to pay to the borough, or the township, I should say, in lieu of the taxes that they're not paying. So our tax collector required clarification, which they refused to provide to her. As a result of that, we exercised our right in accord with the financial agreement to have our own auditor audit their books, which should take place on June 2nd. And hopefully, as a result of that audit, all the information that our tax collector requires will be provided, and any issues will be cleared up.
Thank you so much, Mr. Scatino. All right, moving right along. Any new business? Okay, thank you so much. So at this time, we're going to open it up to public comment. May I have a motion to open it up to public comment?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, public comment is now open. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes, and you're limited to one speaking opportunity. You have the option to stand and speak from here, or take a seat at this table.
I'll stand for this one.
You got it.
I would like to know if the administrator can vote on any item that's on the agenda. Can somebody answer that question, please? We all know what the answer is, right? Of course, the administrator does not vote. So, what you also don't know, or you should actually know, is I was the one that got that started the whole brick grant for going out to try to get this funded, okay? So that's all that I could do. I made the recommendation, had the monies in the position that we would be able to move forward. And so for me to be accused of not doing something, I'm sorry, I just cannot accept that. So that's all that I really have to say. It took all these years to get to where we are. Thankfully, this can be done as financially and expeditiously as possible, and so that the residents of this town does not have to worry about the situation in their homes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Davidson. Anybody else?
That was the other thing, too.
Yeah.
And I also had to come back here after I left. I'm sorry. But after I left, I also came back here to help get that funding through to the government. So I'm sorry. I just simply could not accept that.
Thank you, Mr. Davidson. Who's coming up next?
I guess I'll stand for this one, too. Michael Warren, 181 West Holder Street. I have some comments to make about what transpired in this room past two meetings. Not so much what the residents' comments were about the shared service. Residents have a right to express that to you, hopefully in a respectful way, but they have a right to do so. My issue was the employees. I really thought the employees, some of them, not all of them, acted with complete disrespect. Whether they like you or not up there, you were elected to be up there by the people in this town. Going after residents online, no good. Other members of the community going after members online, not good. And I got to thinking about why this conversation is taking place to begin with. And I started to make a list. And what this boils down to is the money. You brought it up tonight. You all brought it up tonight about the pump station. And I'm happy you voted for it. Mr. Davidson and I have known each other for a long time, and I know this is a project that's been in the making. And I get your concerns, Mr. Truinsky, but I think that the pump station has been neglected for so long, and that's the word I want to focus on tonight, the neglect. From previous township committees, even me sitting up there at one point. So I made a list of things that have been neglected. And I named my list no money. Because that's what I was told, that's what you've been told, that's what you tell the public. For all the things the public asks for. And over the past two meetings about the shared service, I'm going over the 3 minutes, just so we're clear. We had employees, that's okay. Employees, I'll send a strongly worded email, it's fine. Employees hearing no, that you can't fund something that has always been funded because we neglected all the other things. So let me go through the things on my list that have not been funded or have been underfunded. We have no funding for any kind of mental health initiatives in this town, even though we proudly display the stigma-free sign, which, by the way, I paid for out of my own money to get those signs. Why? There's no money. No money for speed bumps to address speeding. No money for flooding mitigation. No matter how minor you think we needed in some areas and more in others, not one dime spent on any kind of meaningful flood mitigation. Not emergencies, not after the fact. No money for a rain barrel program. No money for recycling bins. No money for parks. No money for youth programs. No money to improve our summer camp. No money for field trips for the summer camp. No money for farmers markets. I had to run that farmers market with 2 strings and a tin can, and it didn't make a profit. No money for America 250. That bothers me. That freaking bothers me. I know you said your movie night was successful. I helped you guys get that movie. I saw some pictures. It was not well attended, and that's a direct result of neglect to fund this very important landmark for our country. Not good. Neglect. No money. No money to plant trees. Plenty to cut them down, and we've had this conversation. No money for community gardens. I'm working my rear end off to get a grant, to get donations from ShopRite. Thank you, ShopRite. To try to get this off the ground. No money for beautification. No money to improve our Memorial Day parade. It's the same amount of money you spend since I've been in town, since 2015. No money to improve our holiday celebrations. No money for a full-time clerk. No money for a full-time administrator. No money for a full-time building department. No money for effective code enforcement. No money for a 150th anniversary. No money for access for all. No money for a historical society in this town. We have one. No money for summer concerts. No money to upgrade our senior center, which is so old and dilapidated. Those chairs in there, disgusting. No money to upgrade the shared room we have with the library. You ever walk in there? No money to fix a leaking roof. No money for a real sound system in here, or a projector so we can see what's being presented. No money for recreation trips for our seniors. No transportation for our seniors. No money for a pump station until tonight. No money for a website that actually works. No money for a welcoming committee. No money for a real master plan that was last updated in 1991 until this year. No money for raises for non-contractual employees while they watch the contractual employees get raises. For years, many of the quality of life items that help define a strong and connected community, recreation programs, shade tree initiatives, beautification efforts, outreach activities, seasonal celebrations, infrastructure improvements, and other civic investments were either underfunded or received no funding at all. And Mr. Davidson also said it tonight as well, and he's not wrong. He doesn't get to vote as the administrator. While these services may not be viewed as essential when it comes to public safety issues, on paper, they're not viewed that way. But they are often the very things that make a town feel welcoming, vibrant, family-oriented, connected, and a reason that people want to come live here. I do want to say the current governing body, that's all 5 of you, you guys have begun to make decisions to reinvest in some of those areas that I just mentioned in that long list. And I just want to make sure that it's acknowledged that you're doing those things, even if people might disagree with them. That it acknowledges that residents deserve more than simply the bare minimum of a municipal government. They deserve a town that's cared for, maintained, and continuously improved, and not neglected. At the same time, you guys have a budget. Can't do all the things, right? But that's why towns enter into shared service agreements. Towns across all over New Jersey do it. Because there's only so much we can pay in our taxes to get all these things that other towns have. Other towns have these. We don't, or we didn't. So I just want to acknowledge the 5 of you up there for getting yelled at and screamed at. I know people say it's part of your job as being elected, but the list I read is a very real list. It's long, but I want to acknowledge the 5 of you are doing the things on that list that haven't been done. And I want to point out, every time the public's been told no when asking for these things, we went back our merry way and tried our best to get by with what we could do. Volunteering, grants. We didn't come here and scream and shout, make a big deal out of those things like that. We accepted it and moved on. I did keep making the list, though, as I've been living in town. I'm going to wrap up. A healthy community should strive to balance fiscal responsibility with civic pride. Public safety will always remain important, but a truly thriving town also invests in the spaces, programs, and traditions that bring neighbors together, support families, encourage local business activity, and create a sense of belonging. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Warren.
And Mayor, may I just back up?
One sec. Let's keep it going, and when I close, I'd love to hear from you, Doc. Anybody else?
Back again, Linda Boniface, 33 Parkway. The one thing that bothered me the most about the pump station was it's an overflow, and where it goes is out to Saddle River. And this valve is frozen shut. And one night, the pump station did back up, and Dave was on vacation, and Mike James and Bob Davidson were handling it. And what they had to do was get a construction company in to run a line all the way from the pump station with a pump all the way to the river. That's a far distance. And then the problem was mitigated. Trucks were called in to bring it. Bob called BCUA. Trucks were brought in. They pumped into the truck, and they went up into Maywood and dumped in Maywood's system, so it bypassed our system. Meanwhile, the mayor at the time was complaining that there was too much money being spent. Do you know, if we didn't mitigate that problem fast enough, we would have been fined up the wazoo from EPA? So it always bothered me that valve never opened. I wanted to go in there with a bunch of PB blaster, drill holes in it, and squirt it in. Anyway, I'm happy you awarded the contract, but you woke me up, Matt, too, in that aspect. But I've worked on hazardous waste jobs where I was on a job one time, we dug in the ground, the meters went off so bad, they covered it up, and we were told to get off. And I don't ever know what happened, because it just stayed like that. Probably down the line they did something. But they could test the dirt when it comes out. They'll most likely test it. They don't just ship it out. They'll probably stockpile it, test it, see how contaminated it is, and where it could go. They can burn it, they can dump it in the landfill. Pennsylvania seems to take a ton of it. Anyway, the other thing I want to, a council person was caught on a hot mic trying to get me out of a meeting. Well, if any of you know, you can't. Case in point, there's a guy that comes into Cranford and does everything he can in his 3 or 5 minutes, whatever he gets. I could come up here and sing an aria, and I can't get thrown out. Case in point. I'm a resident in this town, I pay a tax bill. And irresponsible spending has bothered me from the day I came into a meeting. And it's going to bother me till I move out of town. And that's why I got every right to say anything I want to say up here. And to anyone, because I really don't care. I'm going to look out for my town the right way. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Boniface. Anybody else?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Dennis Cruz, 60 Lexington Avenue. Just to make it clear, I'm not a tree hater. I don't hate trees, so just want to make that clear. But a tree was planted in front of my property in the exact spot a tree was removed because the sidewalk was damaged. And I would just like to know who makes the decision where the trees are planted. because there are houses on my block that didn't have trees planted in front of their property. There should be something in the records that that tree was removed because of that.
The comments and.
Yeah, we'll address it. Yes.
Okay, because it just doesn't make any sense that someone was outside and was able to tell them they didn't want a tree planted in front of their house, and the tree wasn't planted there, and 3 other houses. So I don't understand how it could be planted there in the same exact spot where a tree was removed because of the sidewalk. Thank you.
Thank you. Dave, because you're here, do you want to jump up for public comment just to share about the process of tree plantings, especially recently on Lexington and Madison? Sorry to put you on the spot, but...
I was 2 steps out the door. Sorry. All good. So, what we started doing, trying to be smarter than what was done in the past, we are evaluating the types of trees that are going in, number one. We're not putting the 100-foot oak tree in a curb strip that's 18 inches wide. We're not doing, we're not putting, again, that 100-foot oak tree or even a 50-foot oak tree that are underneath the power lines. We're putting the smaller trees. So our target, our goal is to plant smarter and try and plant what will work. We're working with our arborist, Liz Stewart. The Shade Tree Commission has been great support to what we're doing and helping make a lot of things feasible. That being said, that is only one item that we're looking at when we do this. The next is root barriers. We're putting root barriers in to protect the sidewalks. Not saying that those smaller trees can't lift a sidewalk slab. I'm sure they can. The root barriers are meant to go in, and they block the roots from going underneath the sidewalk. So that's the big issue that we're trying to take care of. Do you want me to address how we pick?
Yes, please.
Well, basically, what we do is we go down the street, and again, I'm not sure where you live. We start at the beginning of the block, and we'll go down. If there's a couple trees there, we don't plant next to someone else's smaller tree, maybe an ornamental tree in their front yard, because our tree may block out their sun. So we will skip that house. So if we're skipping one, and then depending upon the quantity of trees we're putting in, we bounce through that area, and we say, okay, every 4 houses we're going to put a tree, and that's how we base our numbers. And it will start, and we will skip sometimes 6 houses because someone else has got another ornamental tree in their front yard. So we do try to accommodate as best we can, respectfully of people who have other trees. Now, regarding the locations, prior to the planting, the Shade Tree Commission, right, you handed out the flyers, every house?
The houses sent a letter informing them that a planting is going to occur on their block, and contact us if there's a question or concern.
And then prior to the planting happening, the contractor, at this job, we had a contractor come in. They're required, because they're doing the digging, they're required to do call before you dig to make sure there's no utilities underneath. I didn't even touch on the utilities, but we try to address that we're not planting on top of a gas line or a water line, or most importantly, your sewer line. I don't have any plans from anybody's house from their laterals, so it's kind of a guesswork that we do. I will look at the house, I'll look for the exhaust vent pipe, and kind of judge. Usually that main vent pipe coming out of the roof is going to be my target and where I separate and plant the tree. In the past, and I learned as we're taking down trees and we're stump grinding and we're hitting gas caps and water caps that are planted right smack underneath the tree. Common sense would tell you, why would you put it there? But meanwhile, we're hitting it with the machine as we're grinding the roots. So in that sense, we're looking, so we're trying to be, again, that proactive word, smart about what we do. So that's pretty much how we pick and choose. We did have letters. We had people that day came out to us, like, I don't want it, and I talked to Mike, and the decision came through Mike as to whether we were going to attempt to make that. If I had someone else who was willing to take that tree, boom, the tree moved. And unfortunately, we only worked during a certain period of time, so does the contractor. That's the point of us trying to get the letter out, and I apologize. I mean, I'm sorry if you didn't see the letter or didn't get the letter. I didn't hand them out, so.
Yeah, they were in the mail.
They were mailed out.
We never got a letter, same street.
Okay, what street, if you don't mind me asking? Oh, Lexington.
What's the purpose of putting?
So, folks, let's take this one participant at a time, and I'm also going to direct you to information to the Shade Tree Commission's meetings as well. Anything else, Dave?
No, that pretty much covers it. That's what we do and how we do it.
Great, thank you so much.
No problem.
Anybody else?
Oh, I can go up there.
Mind meld. Andrew Madsen, 14 Eldorado Court. I will say, not just me, speaking with a lot of other residents in town this spring, seeing the trees start to blossom and come to life has been really nice, and definitely, as Mr. Warren said, something that builds community. It's been great to see the investment and the time and what's come of that in terms of grant money to be able to continue this operation of plant trees. I fully support that moving forward. I know when my street was done, I received the letter that he spoke of, so I would imagine everybody received the same letter. One thing I did want to speak about also, I have a question, and I was hoping the people that would know that, but maybe you guys can ask the question more officially. With the dispatcher debate that's gone on, there's been people saying that it could possibly affect our response time. I'm just wondering, what is our response time? Because I would imagine the people making that claim should know that, because they're putting a very high importance on that response time, so they should know what the response time is. And I would like to know that, and then when we get to a point, maybe they can compare that response time. But if we don't have a response time, maybe they should be directed to give us a response time. I don't know. That's just my thought. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anybody else? Hearing or seeing no one, can I get a motion to close public comments?
Make a motion.
Make a second? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Any additional comments from Township? I know Mr. Smith wanted to speak up.
I just wanted to, Mr. Warren had brought something up, and as somebody who's volunteered in this town, coaching, since I moved here in 2017, well, I will say dealing with the children of this town is a lot easier than dealing with some of the adults in this town. But I will say, show me a robust rec department, and I'll show you a safer town. They all go hand in hand. And when we got to beg for money to put kids in programs, you show me a strong rec program, I will show you a safer town. And these are just facts. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anybody else? Just want to share out that the next Shade Tree meeting is on Thursday, June 4th at 6:30 p.m. And that meeting is held in the Senior Center. And what's so great about them is that the Shade Tree Commissioner, Mr. Michael Warren, is there, as well as our DPW Superintendent, Dave Brown. So they can definitely answer all tree-related questions, as we did pass the Shade Tree Commission last year, and it's going amazingly. And I think that the grants that we're getting recently speak to the Shade Tree Commission being enforced now. Okay? All right. Moving right along. Consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered routine and non-controversial and will be approved by one motion unless a committee member requests otherwise. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committee
Committeewoman Vici,
Yes.
Committeewoman Judge Covello.
Yes.
Committeeman Smith.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Chalinsky.
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. This was a great meeting filled with progress, and I'm honored to be up here serving alongside these amazing people to the left and right of me. The next Township Committee meeting will be held on Wednesday, June 10th at 7 p.m. May I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Motion.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much.